out of breath now from running around my house trying to get it to work. I feel like I've done a big run.
How are you anyway?
I'm good, how are you?
Good, yeah. What have you been up to?
Bits and bobs. I feel like I've been the most productive I've ever been, actually.
Oh, really? What, being confined at home?
Yeah, I just think because I'm always on the go, and especially since I graduated, I've just been travelling the whole time, haven't I? So I've not actually ever sat still really and just thought about, I don't know, I've got a lot of projects that I wanted to start, but I think sometimes you just need to sit still to be able to do them and have room to think, because when you're obviously busy and meeting new people and travelling, you just don't have the time to do it and just to speak to people. So many people I wanted to connect with, but I've been so busy.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I think I've been similar with I think a lot of people have a list of stuff they want to do, but they can't do it because they're just stuck on
Exactly.
I normally look at my list when I'm on the bus because that's when I sit still and I've not got anything else to do. But then other than that, I'm just like, what now? But I was going to speak to you actually about where you've just been on your travels, and then sort of kind of stranded, wasn't you, for a bit?
So I've been traveling for a while, but this last time I went to Poland, which was lovely. I was helping people with their English as this language school. Anyway, it was really nice, and I had loads of time to write there. And I also started a podcast when I was out there, so I had the time to do a lot of creative stuff. Just met loads of cool people. It was really nice. But I was in Germany doing another project, a sustainability one, with Erasmus, and then we basically all just got stuck. But the Erasmus scheme was run by a Turkish group of people, and they couldn't get back to Turkey. All of us were, and we just met. It was actually a really I think it would have, obviously no one was filming us, but it would have made a good film because we were all from around the world. We're all panicking. We're trying to touch with the Turkish embassy, and then it was John and I, who obviously John's hilarious, and we're just trying to find out what to do, and then someone's like, you might have to get a boat home, and me and John are like, a boat? What? And I think God. Again, because you have that very British mindset though, and it's bad, and that we think, oh, we're always going to be allowed to go home, we're you know what I mean, and I think that's bad, and there's a lot of ignorance in that, whereas the Turkish people and there was a guy from there was an Indian guy there's people from all over the world, and they were like, yeah, this is how it is, sometimes not they've been through it a lot, but I think it's a lot more closer to home than John and I were. Well, John was a mess, I was a lot better. I was a lot better, but still we were panicking, but we got home. It was fine. We lost a bit of money, but it is what it is. But I was supposed to be going to Austria afterwards, and I was on a really a good roll then with all my creative stuff, with my writing every day and my podcast. That it's a bit sad because I was planning to have 3 weeks on my own. John was going to go home because we were already a married couple, so he was going to go home, and that was planned anyway. But and I was going to carry on with stuff, so it's given me the momentum to come home and work on my projects, but it's obviously a bit disheartening, and it was a stressful 2 days, but I'm back now, which is good.
When did you first hear about the coronavirus then? Because I know that it's one of those things for me where it was sort of, it was drip fed in the media as little bobs. It's this thing in China, then it was kind of seeping over to Europe. But when did it actually become an actual? Because if you were keeping up with all the work that you were doing out there, when did it first hit you that this is a thing?
Literally that night. So when I come home, me and John flew home on the Monday, and that was when Boris did our Bojo did that announcement. So before that, I don't think anyone knew how extreme it was, but especially for us, because we were still all doing this project, and it was a sustainability project. We were talking about global issues, but we definitely were not speaking about the virus until literally this Sunday. I was supposed to go and this is very cringe, but I was supposed to go to Austria and do this it was not a yoga retreat, but it was in the Austrian mountains. It's very me.
Sounds great.
Yeah, it was going to be amazing, but they cancelled, and then it was a very strongly worded email we know you've got this job with us, like, and there's going to be like 250 people there on this conference. There's going to be like Buddhist monks and stuff, like people coming in from all over the world. And there was like, it's obviously cancelled. And then I was like, wow, right, so that's in Austria, so that's really close to where I was, and it's obviously Europe, it's a bit closer to home than China, isn't it? So I was like, right, so this is serious. And then that was on the Sunday, so I thought, right, maybe I'll just fly home earlier then, but I'll still go to Austria. And then that happened on the Monday, and it was literally 24-hour turnaround. Like, they said, oh, the border's actually closed to Austria, so my flight was cancelled. And then this was all in the space of 2 hours, and obviously you're getting all these messages through. And it's just not being at home as well. Like, I can never wait to get out of Manchester, but you realise how much you appreciate home and just like the little things. Like, obviously I'm really close to my sister, and just she was messaging me like, just get yourself home. Like, if it costs us money, it's fine. Like, yeah, so I think it's made everyone a bit closer with their friends and family, I'd hope, because you with each other 24/7.
Tell me about your projects then.
So the first one, I'm really excited about. I feel like it's been in the making for a long time, because obviously I've been at uni, and you know anyway, because obviously we've known each other for years. You know, like my background, and that I've always had to work a million jobs. So throughout uni, I did 3 jobs in my final year, which is insane, and I was so busy. So I've wanted to do it for a while, literally about a year and a half, and it's called Sisterhood. It's basically by and for queer women, because I've obviously created it, and it's, the premise behind it is that it's a space, so it's an art community, and it's for queer women to be able to use their voice, because I've just found that for me in my writing, like, so I've been in so many workshops, and I studied creative writing, and where I'm just told a lot of the time, like, oh, well, maybe that poem that you're writing, because you're writing from a female perspective, maybe it should be about a man, really. And like, because I'm obviously pansexual and I do date men as well, I'm like, well, I could write about a man, but like, that's not the point really, is it? Like, I don't want to. And I think at the time, that poem that I'm talking about was about my girlfriend, so I was like, I'm not, obviously don't have a girlfriend at the minute, but at the time I was like, well, it's kind of about that person, and it's weird now to make that person like, it's just not really that ethical, is it? So
why would you change it? Yeah.
Well, a lot of people just didn't understand the voice, and because I obviously do pass, started with like a face full of makeup on and million bright colours, and obviously people are a bit like, oh right, and they don't really understand my voice on that. And I think that's where my journey's gone, is that I'm just as like valid and qualified to speak on these issues as well, if that makes sense. So basically that was the point, is that obviously queer women as a whole are all different, we're all represented in different ways, but I do think there should be a space, because it's very difficult. And I know even like big like BBC now and big and even Penguin, where I used to work, like they really want to have queer voices and BAME voices, and they want to bring them to the forefront, but I don't know if they're doing that well, because it's not created by, they're not fronting the project, you know what I mean? Like, because I'm fronting this, I know what I want to say, and again, I don't know obviously every queer woman on the planet, but I know my friends, and I know how I want to be represented. So yeah, that's the point of it. And yeah,
I was going to say, there's a big difference with what you were saying as well, in it, where it's like, for a big organisation to kind of look and go, oh yeah, we see that that's something that we're missing. I know that not all companies, but a few of them I know will just be like, all right, let's just get someone in to tick that box and sort it out.
Yeah.
But there is a massive difference in actually someone like yourself who's leading it from their own experience, and who has that sort of network with people and those friends already. It just makes sense for things to be nurtured more than just grabbing a voice for the sake of it, sort of thing, isn't it?
And that's the point I want to make too, is that I'm not by any means excluding men from this, because that would obviously be part of the problem. I'm encouraging men to write for it, just as long as it's obviously, sisterhood's just about the ethos of like women, feminism, sisterhood, like, so obviously I wouldn't have someone who was like misogynistic, but that's nobody that I speak to probably is anyway, so it's fine. So I want men to write for it, I want allies to write for it, I want trans women, I want and I've already got some people on board who, because I don't just again want it to be like a lot of like white women who are like me as well, do you know what I mean, who are like, oh, we're what queer is, because I'm not sure that it is.
What's the name again?
Sisterhood.
So it's Sisterhood. And at the moment, where can people get in touch with you?
So I've got Instagram up and running, which is called Sisterhood Community, with a little whatever they're called underscore thing. And I've got the website, And yeah, obviously just to message me, because at the minute it's definitely in the works. Like, I've got some people who want to contribute regularly, like the photography, but I want it to be people who have never wrote before, who just think, I'm really pissed off about this, or I'm really passionate about this poem. And you can put, like, well, it's going to be for creative writing too, so especially in this time, like, I want it to really be quite a open thing. I don't want it to be pretend, because I've always found as well, for me, especially with the money side of things, like coming from a working class background, I don't want it to be where you're like stressing about money, or, you know, obviously never charge. But I found that a lot of like poetry competitions and stuff, like, you know, something's good, you want to get it out there, but you've got to pay loads of money to get it out there, or you've got to network with the right people that you don't know and that are intimidating. So that's kind of why I did it, because I thought, why not? Like, why can't I do it? There's no reason why I can't. So
it's dead exciting. Yeah. I love to see that these things are coming out of this time of, like, it's like a sort of lull, isn't it? It's like a pause. Good to see these sort of creative responses coming out, which also don't come with too much pressure for people. Like, it's a thing that is there to bring people together, and not to necessarily be like, come on, do it now.
Definitely, yeah.
Really nice. Fantastic. How exciting. Right, well, thanks again, and I'll hopefully speak to you soon.
Thank you.
I'll
speak to you, hopefully see you one day soon.